Good evening, folks. Welcome to the Richmond Raceway in Richmond, Virginia. We are here for uncharted qualifying prior to tomorrow night's running of the Capital One 400 here. First car going to take the track is going to be Boston Jones, the 57. He'll be joined by 10 others momentarily. I'm not alone for this one. I'm being joined by Zachary Fitzwater. Fitzy, welcome up to the booth, man.
Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no problem. And you were here for last season's race at Richmond, and you remember that one was pretty much dominated by Josh King. But we were running a different version of Richmond then. We had the BBMC version then, obviously 2007 one now. And the testing sessions, it's actually been fairly competitive. So, what do you expect we could see here this weekend at Richmond?
Well, let's hope it did. Well, let's see if it early, quote-unquote, 5 laps doesn't come chaotic like last year, but for these non-charter guys, I don't know how many events on, but they need to make sure they find their P's and Q's. No, why not? They do, whoever makes it in, then do the normal qualifying and then the race, probably see the same exact thing.
Absolutely, and the first one we see on the board, Boston Jones, the 57, with a 21.569. He'll go to number 1, of course, straight in there. 80 of Brendan Yodel is going to file in behind him, though. And 41, Landon Smith Jr. going to file into second now, beating out that 80. The 21.634. We'll see what kind of lap guys can get going as they continue to come around here as more and more coming off of the pit road. Still Boston Jones on the pole position now. In fact, he ran a quicker time there, a 21.217. He is now 3/10 faster, over 3/10 faster than anyone else on track right now, as 8 drivers have now run a lap, 9 looking for the last 2. With the 26er Roberto Crown Jr. and Justin Zidell, the 54. I don't think they've run a full lap yet, so we'll just have to see where they end up here in just a few minutes.
Yeah, that's true. With them coming out and taking their, I would call it, in lap, or the international lap, so, yeah.
And to the top of the, well, not the change on the top of the board. It's still the 57 Boston Jones, but Mike Cook in the 91 has moved up to the second position there with a 21.348. And now Boston Jones getting even quicker with a 21.208. And Landon Smith Jr. will join him inside the top 2. Remember the top 2 advancing from this, and hello, right behind Mike Cook, Madison Toll. And then Logan Alexander and Declan Wellington Turner go number 1 and 2. They're nose to tail on track. These two are 1 and 2 on the board right now, and that was until Landon Smith Jr. crept his way back up there. Landon Smith Jr. has already made a couple starts this season. He almost won Phoenix, actually finished second to his brother Trey Smith. And I don't actually remember where his other start was. I think it was Daytona, actually. So he's looking to make his 3rd start of the season. We've had 3 uncharted drivers make 2 starts. Everyone else has made 1 start. Haven't seen one make 3 starts yet. So Landon Smith Jr. is trying to change that little deal around, but he's going to have a little harder time now because the 31 of Daniel Bouchard just crept into the top 2 with a 21.082 with that Yoo-Hoo Toyota.
Yeah, Bouchard is pretty much trying to get himself locked in. And you know how Bouchard goes. If he gets luck and then the race comes on and doesn't have no luck. So I hope he turns it around this time around if he makes this right. Oh, okay, never mind. Spoke too soon. Landon Smith Jr. is now second.
Well, with Daniel Bouchard and luck, he actually had a bone thrown his way in the CarQuest Indy Racing League at Road America this last week. that he and Nathan Baird got together coming out of the pit road, and he actually got away. Meanwhile, Baird sustained serious damage. And we saw all race long there, it was very difficult to overtake for the lead, and nobody was able to overtake Daniel Bouchard. He just cruised home the last 3 laps and won that race, but only 2 1/1000ths of a second out from Landon Smith Jr.'s time. But we're getting later and later in the session. It's going to be an even further of a rarity to see anyone record better lap times later on as the session continues to close down towards the end. Just over 4 minutes remaining here. 3 drivers inside of a 21.0. The next one out, Declan Wellington Turner in 4th. And everyone coming down. There's a few coming down on pit road. Mike Cook, 1. Seen some come in and out of the pit road already. And will fresh tires help them get a better lap time, or are they not going to have enough time to warm up the tires to get to competitive speed? We'll have to see what happens here. It's going to get interesting.
So I know nobody else had new lap times on those tires yet, but we'll see how this goes.
Last car on the track right now is the 80 of Brandon Yodel. The 21.435, and actually a swap there for 8th and 9th. They are actually tied on track right now with a 21.181. Not that it matters for who's going to make it into the race. Just interesting that they tied to the nearest 1,000th of a second, and now the tie is broken. As I didn't actually see who that was. I believe it was Nick Martins. But anyway, it was it's still Logan Alexander and Landon Smith Jr. on the top of the board with 2.5 minutes remaining, or maybe 2.5 minutes remaining unless we have a couple of resets. And hello to the top of the board, the 26 of Roberto Crown Jr. So that means we have 2 Dodges in the top 2 right now, both looking to advance their way in to the Capital One 400 with just over 2 minutes remaining. What a blistering lap from Roberto Crown Jr. 21.014.
Yeah, that was an excellent lap. I think we're probably running like almost like 5/10 of last year, pretty much. But yeah, that was a good quality lap.
The thing is, you mentioned they're going a bit slower than last year. Well, there's less cars in this session. I think, well, it's been the case for most of qualifying this season. We'll see the lap times really start to pick up once we get to the full field stuff. So if these lap times seem quick, we're going to be cracking the 20s here in full field qualifying if I had to expect. Meanwhile, as I was saying that, Declan Wellington Turner knocked off the 50 of Logan Alexander for second there with a 21.058. We now have a Dodge and Chevrolet 1 and 2, and Declan Wellington Turner has not made a start in the Cabela's Cup Series this season. Has run very well in the Scots National Series. Could he have a chance here to make his way into the race? Potentially run well here at Richmond. He had a good race at Martinsville, another short track. We'll just have to see what he can do in that 09.
Pretty much. He's been doing a lot of short tracks lately, but yeah, trying to make his first Cup start this year. Gotta be one accomplishment for him.
And of course, he has the Scots National race coming up later on tonight. He could have another opportunity to have a fantastic run there for that 11 Home Depot EL Motorsports team. As the clock's going to tick down, will we have a reset? Yes, we will. 20 seconds. And I think it's likely we're going to have another one before this session's done with. But in this time, we've only seen it once or twice this season where times change. Positions on the board change in the final 2 resets. Nothing happened in the first one. How about the second one? 25 more seconds here to work with. I don't think anything's going to happen from this Hornet's Nest here. I don't think it would be from Logan Alexander. Could it be from someone like Daniel Bouchard, though, to knock off the 0-9? No. No, you didn't do it. So that's going to be your top 2. Those are going to be the ones advancing to the Capital One 400. It is Roberto Crown Jr. and Declan Wellington Turner. They will be advancing to the main event here, and we'll have full field qualifying here in just a minute. We will have them there. They will be able to go for the provisional pole position for the race. That'd be something if an uncharted driver won the pole position. But we'll just have to see what happens here in this next 15-minute session for full field qualifying. Let's get it started. And we're all set now for full field qualifying for the Capital One 400. Owen Miles coming out of his stall there. Everybody getting down onto the pit road. And we are set for probably a wild session if last year was any indicator of what's going to go on here. But this is, again, a different version of Richmond. I don't know if we're going to see 3-4 wide all throughout stacked on top of each other like that. But Owen Miles and Will Parrish, the first out on the track. We'll see what kind of laps these guys can run here. And, of course, you're going to see a lot of day Richmond, I think, this weekend here in the NOFSRL. This one is going to be here under the lights, as will Scott's, but I don't think that's going to take away from it being a fantastically fun race. Of course, the day version's fun. We've actually got the second Richmond date now, replacing the date that was supposed to be at North Wilkesboro. That's actually going to be a day Richmond race now. I made that announcement a while back in the Discord, but for those of you that are not in the Discord watching, well, now you know. First on the board right now is Owen Miles, the 25, and hello, Nathan Smith in the 84. Well, that didn't last long. For about 3 seconds. This Will Parrish moves to the top of the board with a 21.106 for that Ruby Motorsports Sprite Chevrolet, tucking in behind the 97 of Nathan Stapleton, rather, as he just comes off the pit road.
Yeah, I thought first Stapleton was gonna come up and hit Will Parrish there, but oh well, spoke too soon. 24 on top.
Ryan Durrani, the 34, now to the top of the board with a 21.064. Actually, his teammate right there, Kip Silverpoint, just 2 cars ahead of him on track. Daisy Johnson in the 15 for a Velocistar up to the top of the board. And right behind her, Roberto Crown Jr. And we've got our first driver cracking the 20s. Ryan Durrani once again. This driver in the 34 has had just terrible luck this season, even whether he's starting up towards the front or not. Seemingly, wherever he's at on track, he just has the worst luck. Kind of like Braden Perez in the Scots National Series and the CarQuest 80 Racing League. But I mean, we'll see what Durrani can do here. Right now he's in a good spot to start. But well, actually, Fitzy, you could probably attest to that. Well, it was only for a moment, but I don't know if you saw, but Roy Ribbleton was right in behind him there in third place. So he would have been on this inside on the pacing line to start the race, and he's back up in third. So you think you might feel a little anxious with that 81? I know you own the 81, but after Martinsville last week, what do you think?
Yeah, I'll be worried, but he's not hurt anymore, but yeah, between those two having faith, yeah, I would be worried. As a team owner, I am absolutely worried.
Ribbleton being the cause of 2 incidents at Martinsville, one with Nathan Stapleton that happened with about 25 laps to go, and the last one which inadvertently cost his teammate Mitchell Collins the race victory when he spun out this guy, Brad Crawford, in the 07, who has had an atrocity of a season as well for owner Roman Fenway. He's looking to turn his luck around too. He's looking to turn around his luck anywhere he can try, but the 27th on the board right now for that driver in the 07. Not a very good qualifying session right now. But to the top of the board earlier, it was Kanan Biller in the 95 with a 20.715. Ethan Lewis in second with a 20.730, and Nathan Stapleton now to the second top of the charts, 3/1000ths of a second behind Kanan Biller, very close to taking the provisional pole position right there.
Yeah, I'm surprised about this one. With Biller, excuse me. Oh, well, never mind. I was gonna say something about him, but forget it, because Stapleton just went on top.
By 2/1000ths of a second. He was behind by 3/1000ths, found an extra 5/1000ths of a second there, and he is now on top with a 20.713. It's working on Phoenix winner Trey Smith right now, who's trying to get that outside line to work. This is something you can see on race day. Once enough rubber gets laid down up there, you might see someone able to work that top side. You see he's able to dive it in a little bit there, but Stapleton, of course. Oh, hello, Declan Wellington Turner, unchartered driver to the top of the board, 20.636. How about that lap time?
You were saying about unchartered driver might take pole? Well,
yeah, what was it that I was saying earlier?
And pretty grim of second as well, while we were talking about the 09.
Yeah, Jacob Thibodeau in the 33 is second right now. So that'll put Stapleton third, Kanan Biller fourth, and Ethan Lewis fifth. The 90 of Trey Wright in sixth, 15 Daisy Johnson seventh, and we changed it up again. Josiah Robinson, Jacob Thibodeau's teammate, just moved up to the 5th position. So move Ethan Lewis to 6th, Trey Wright 7th, Daisy Johnson 8th, Andrew Miller 9th, and Darian Arnsdorf rounding out the top 10 in qualifying right now with just over 8 minutes remaining here at Richmond.
I expect some drivers coming out of pits might put a fast lap down with under 8 minutes left, so I mean it's the 09. Pole might, well, we'll see if it gets broken or not, but it depends on who comes out with the pressure cars. Oh, okay, look out.
Chris Reynolds, I believe that was in the 42 coming off the pit road, almost collected Daisy Johnson in the 15 there.
Somebody moved up the track. Oh, that was 95.
84 of Nathan Smith as well moved up the track. Kukalon, that's the first time we've seen the outside line work here in this session. Kukalon all around the outside of Darian Arnsdorf. I know this is qualifying session, but you are really starting to see how they're going to race each other here at Richmond under the lights tomorrow night. Kukalon's going to come down on the pit road. Trey Smith just about plowed into that 82. So, oh, that could have been really, really bad. Only one driver not inside the 20-second mark. That is Nathan Smith in the 84. Trey Smith, 38th on track right now. And as for Kukalon, who just went down the pit road, he is currently on the board listed in 28th. Ugh.
all drivers who does not need to start way back is at 77. He was a dominant car at Martinsville, and he lost because of strategy. You really hate to see it.
Yeah, Trey Smith had an excellent race at Martinsville. Tried to get win number 2. You know, he got really, really, really close, but you can only get so close. But he's looking for a fantastic opportunity here. A fantastic opportunity that's not looking like it's gonna come his way, at least for right now. He's 38th on the track still. Declan Wellington.
Meanwhile, sorry about that. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I thought the top 10 got shoveled a bit, but never mind. Oh, now it did.
Now it did. Ben George with the 78 up to the 7th position there. That team, with the exception of Kanan Biller, has been abysmal. That 78 car this season has just been absolutely... Well, I don't know if they've been bad or they've been unlucky, because he seemed to have had a lot of mechanical failures this season. I don't actually remember where Gorich is in the point standings right now. Let's take a look real quick. I'm going to guess it's not good. When I take a look here, it's probably going to be low. And yes, indeed, 28th. Goodness. And Kanan Biller, his teammate, 31st coming into this race. I did not expect Kanan Biller to be that low in the standings, him being the defending champion and all, but it has not been a good season so far for the Season 2 champion. Same could be said for Season 1 champion Ben Crouch. If I can find him, he's still on track. There he is. Ben Crouch, 33rd in standings right now, or in these standings right now. So he's looking to have a good turnaround here at Richmond. Currently 22nd on the board right now. But there's still 3 minutes 45 seconds remaining in this session, so things could change.
I was going to say, Crash and them guys need some luck to head their way starting this race and throughout the rest of the season if they want to at least stay or be in contention, but doesn't look like at the moment, so.
Yeah, well, hopefully he can turn it around, though. Of course, announced a little while ago in the Discord again, but I don't think we mentioned it here on an actual race broadcast. But Ben Crouch is actually providing a seat for Dale Lightning in the upcoming Dr. Pepper Cherry All-Star Challenge. Dale Lightning will be sporting an 88 car, sported like Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s early 2000s Budweiser car. Absolutely beautiful paint scheme there. Of course, Dale won the Norton LifeLock 400 to cap off season number 2 of the Cabela's Cup Series. Had a solid season, finished like 7th in points, I think. It was somewhere in the top 10, but Dale Lightning was eligible. He just needed a seat, and that is what's been provided to him from Ben Crouch. The hashtag #DoItForDale on the back of that 88 car. So Dale Lightning literally doing it for Dale in the weekend before Memorial Day at Charlotte Motor Speedway. He could have a very good shot of winning that All-Star race. I'm just gonna say it now because he's very good on the 1.5 miles when he's in an asphalt car. Obviously, Chicagoland is a 1.5 miles. It's not a D-shaped oval like Charlotte is, but Lightning also won at Kentucky in what was then the Texas Instruments IndyCar Series. And he also won at Michigan. Well, Michigan's not a 1.5 miles, but it has sort of the characteristics of one, just about a 0.5 mile longer.
Yeah, that was pretty much a good move by Crash to put him in that car. I'd love to see it. Meanwhile, while you were talking about that, top 10 literally got shuffled.
Yeah, it did, but still on the top of the board, Declan Wellington Turner, Jacob Thibodeau, Nathan Stapleton is up to third, though. Kanan Biller fourth, Josiah Robinson fifth, Brad Stover in sixth, Ethan Lewis seventh, Ben Groich down to eighth, Roberto Crown Jr. in ninth, and Trey Wright rounding out the top 10. Let's talk about this guy real quick. Benny Watson, the 53. Coming off his second win of the season at Martinsville, and that just... I'm still just dumbfounded as to how that entire green-white checkered restart went down, but he was able to win that race, and now he just moved to second?
You've got to be
that lap?
You gotta be.
He just moved to second. Are you kidding me?
What is this guy on nitrous or something?
He's got a secret NOS button in there, I guarantee. No, I'm kidding. But good grief. What a fantastic lap for Benny Watson. Won the Daytona 500, won at Martinsville, top 5 in points, and he is looking to have a tremendous weekend here at the Richmond Fairgrounds.
If he pulls the number one of these off again, I don't know what else to say but speechless.
Alright, we're down to the final reset here with now 15 seconds remaining in qualifying. It looks like we're going to have an uncharted driver on the pole unless something changes here, and I don't really think it's going to. 5 seconds to go. Declan Wellington Turner is on the pole position for the Capital One 400. Benny Watson in second. Jacob Thibodeau third. Nathan Stapleton fourth. Kanan Biller fifth. Josiah Robinson sixth. Brad Stover 7th, Ethan Lewis 8th, Ben Groich 9th, and Roberto Crown Jr. rounds out the top 10. We'll scroll through the rest of your standings there. Slowest time was still Nathan Smith, but everybody inside the 20-second mark. Nobody back in the 21s. So, Fitzy, that was a significantly cleaner session than last year. I think we can say that right off the bat.
Definitely.
There wasn't, you know, at the end. Goodness gracious, last year.
I know, right?
I try to forget about it every day, but in the context of where we are, it's important to bring it up, I guess. But what do you think? What do you think about that? Do you think we have a favorite going into Richmond tomorrow night?
It really depends. We could see a non-charger win. We can see somebody start from dead last to win, pull the last to first challenge. I mean, anybody can win at this track.
Yeah, absolutely. This is a totally driver skill dependent. There is not really dirty air that comes into factor here at Richmond. So, that is going to be something to look out for. You know who I'm thinking might have a good shot of winning this race? I don't want to... You know what? I know who I think might have a good shot of winning this race, but I'm not going to jinx it, because anytime I say it, they end up having a terrible time. So we'll just wait and let the race play out tomorrow night and see how that goes. Anyway, we'll see you later on tonight for the Scots National Series here at Richmond, and of course everyone else in the NOFSRL. We've all got stuff going on this weekend here at Richmond. It's going to be a fun weekend for sure, and we'll see you tomorrow night as well for the Cabela's Cup Series Capital One 400 here at the Richmond Raceway, and it's going to be a good one. Fitzy will be joining me for that too. I'm looking forward to it. We'll go ahead and wrap this up here. We're going to go record the race here in just a second. On behalf of Fitzy and the entire NOFSRL, y'all have a good one.